Hello and good evening. Today it is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. And for this video today, I will be sharing my thoughts on the rumor that the days of the NFL's one helmet rule that has been implemented since 2013 could be numbered. Thanks to a recent interview about a month ago as of the filming of this video today with the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, talk about the NFL's one helmet rule ending after 2020 really picked up steam. So basically what Bruce Arians said was that, quote, once the helmet rule changes next year, we might have some creamsicles and some throwbacks, which I think are the best uniforms in the league, end quote. When he said that, basically the conversation about the one helmet rule came back. So this rule, discussion about the rule and whether it's needed or not, or whether it's going to actually end at some point or not, this discussion erupted right after that interview, basically. And I remember sportslogos.net discussing that as well. And I must say, it is a very interesting discussion point because the NFL originally implemented the one helmet rule during the 2013 season as an effort to reduce head and neck injuries amongst NFL players. So the rule has prevented teams like the Philadelphia Eagles wearing these gorgeous Kelly green throwbacks. Other examples off the top of my head immediately are the Buccaneers, the New England Patriots and their Boston Patriots throwbacks. And there's other ones like the Dallas Cowboys and their 60s navy blue throwbacks. That's another throwback I really do miss. It was a beautiful uniform as well, at least in my opinion. But the one helmet rule has been in the NFL since 2013. And unfortunately, as a result, we've missed out on a lot of opportunities to see some really gorgeous throwback uniforms used on an annual basis, season by season basis. But yeah, no, I think, in my opinion, would I like to see the NFL end the one helmet rule and allow teams to at least wear a different helmet for throwbacks? Absolutely. I would love to see it. But the one helmet rule was supposedly brought in to reduce player injuries involving head injuries and neck injuries. And, you know, I'm a believer that safety is more important than getting to see some gorgeous throwback uniforms a few times, multiple times during an NFL season, or any season for that matter. You know, I would rather see player safety, a safety measure actually reducing player injuries than see some more gorgeous throwback uniforms like this one here. But, you know, I've got to be honest, I've always been a skeptic about the NFL's one helmet rule. I mean, if it's clear that this rule has dramatically reduced head and neck injuries, and it's actually reducing the injuries dramatically, then yeah, by all means, keep the one helmet rule. Keep the color rash program if you want, if that's what it takes to reduce injuries. If it's actually really helping, then I think player safety is more important than seeing these beautiful throwbacks like this one here throughout NFL seasons. But, you know, sorry to be such a skeptic, but I just don't think that changing the rule to only allow one helmet per season, I just don't think it's really reduced injuries at all. I don't think it has. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm totally right on that. I could be very wrong. But when I look at the fact that players are bashing their helmets against one another game in and game out, I just don't see how only being able to wear one helmet per season makes a damn bit of difference. And if it really dramatically reduced injuries so substantially, if at all, I'm sure the NCAA would have adopted it by now. Because for years, the NCAA has had so many teams throughout college football in America that wear more than one helmet per season. A lot of teams will wear like 4 or 5 different helmets even at times. So many teams wear so many different helmets every year in college football. And up until last season, the Canadian Football League had multiple teams wearing multiple helmets per season. One example is the Calgary Stampeders. Their home uniform would be with a red helmet. Their away uniform used to be with a black helmet, unfortunately. And they had a special alternate uniform helmet design that was matte black with a red gradient and a chromed logo decal on the sides. So, I mean, obviously the CFL is an exception here because they started implementing a one helmet rule this past season, But, I mean, if this one helmet rule has made such a dramatic reduction in head and neck injuries, which if it has, I think that's great. I mean, I'm sure that the NCAA and the rest of the vast majority, if not all football leagues everywhere would have adopted a similar rule by now. But I don't know. I'm very skeptical that this helmet rule has made a damn bit of difference. And besides, don't players have to replace helmets throughout the season anyway due to the amount of wear and tear that those helmets take protecting the players? Think about those big hits that they take. There's got to be helmet breakages throughout the season. I mean, right there, players have to change helmets anyway. So if a lot of players have to change their helmets because they're broken and damaged throughout the season anyway, is switching the helmets up for a throwback uniform now and then going to make a damn bit of difference? I mean, if it does, then keep the one helmet rule. But I just don't think it's made any difference. And if it has, then yeah, keep things the way they are. Because I think player safety is more important than getting to see a beautiful throwback uniform now and then. I think that safety should always come first, but I just don't think this helmet rule has made any difference personally. And if I'm wrong on that, by all means, let me know. I mean, if it has actually reduced the amount of injuries in the NFL, then keep the rules the way they are. Because safety first, as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather see players have less injuries than get to see a beautiful throwback like this one here from the Philadelphia Eagles any day. Safety first. But anyway, I gotta admit, I have missed seeing a lot of gorgeous throwbacks amongst the NFL's teams over the years since the one helmet rule has been brought in. But also, personally, I think that there is a big, big, big loss for the NFL in terms of jersey sales by not having teams wearing throwbacks. And now that Nike has fully gotten rid of their plastic crap flywire collars in favor of the new Vapor template and the new Vapor collars, which are much better, the throwbacks would be very well received. And in fact, multiple NFL players, including Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks, have all even said that it's time to drop the one helmet rule. And personally, I think it's about time. And truth is, I actually don't think the one helmet rule should have ever been brought in anyway. I don't think it's ever made a damn bit of difference personally. But if it has, I've already said how I feel about it. So I'm not going to go back and say it again. But, this is a really interesting rumor, and the Patriots even acknowledged it when they recently unveiled their new updated uniforms, where they said that if the helmet rule does change, they will certainly look into bringing back the red Boston Patriots throwbacks, which are very popular, and rightfully so. They are absolutely gorgeous. Now, do I want the Patriots going back to wearing red full-time? Truth is, I don't. I'm glad that they've done what they've done. With the exception of not wearing silver pants with their Color Rush their Color Rush turned home uniform. I think they should wear it with silver pants. I think monochrome navy all the time is ridiculous. I'm not a fan of it at all, personally. But, if the helmet rule changes, that's a team that should bring out their throwbacks too. And I do think that the NFL is going to switch the rules up to at least allow throwbacks again in 2021. I would be shocked if this doesn't happen. And you know what? This is a huge opportunity for more jersey sales, especially if teams like Seattle start pulling out throwbacks to wear as well. So, I mean, this one helmet rule really started to get criticized a lot more when the Eagles started asking to wear the Kelly green throwbacks again. And what happened is that at the time, they supposedly did not have enough support to move ahead with changing the rules to allow the throwbacks again. But now in 2021, if the rule does change, I guarantee we see this come back. So let's take a look at some other throwback uniforms across the NFL. There's a team right there that I'd love to see a throwback from, the New York Jets. But, I mean, in terms of throwbacks, I mean, you could see, I'd love to see the Broncos do a throwback or at least go to their Color Rush jersey full time. But for me, this is the one throwback uniform that I want to see come back more than any other uniform in the NFL. The Seahawks royal blue uniform. I think this is an absolutely gorgeous jersey and uniform. And this is a uniform that I think needs to make a comeback for sure. Also, if the Houston Texans would be allowed to wear Oilers throwbacks, I think that would be amazing, but I don't know if they would be able to because the Tennessee Titans did actually move from Houston and are the Houston Oilers. Technically, because the Oilers moved to Tennessee in the 1990s. But this is also a uniform that I really do miss as well, the creamsicles. I mean, I think the red and pewter is a cool color scheme, but I've always loved the creamsicles, and these are my favorite in terms of Buccaneers uniforms. But I do agree with everyone, the pirate flag identity and the red and pewter is better than the Bucco Bruce logo for sure. But I really do feel that the creamsicle uniform should at least be worn once a year as a throwback. And truth is, I'd actually love to see the Buccaneers bring back the original white jersey from I believe 1976 was when they first joined the NFL alongside Seattle. And if I am wrong on that, please correct me. I would appreciate that. But I'd like to see the Buccaneers bring back their original white uniform with the creamsicle numbers instead of the red numbers they wore for the vast majority of the time they wore these uniforms before they ultimately switched to red and pewter that they've had ever since. But here's a quick photo of the Boston Patriots throwback uniform. Bucco Bruce on the left and a Kelly Green era white Eagles uniform. And this is another uniform I want to see make a comeback. The Detroit Lions Barry Sanders era light blue, powder blue, jersey and uniform. Why the Detroit Lions ever switched away from this, in my opinion, is beyond my comprehension. It is one of the most absolute gorgeous uniforms in football, in my opinion. That's a uniform I'd love to see come back, with the exception of the logo on the helmet. I like the modernized logo better. And speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, like I did earlier, I want to see a royal blue Throwback era throwback from the Cowboys. And I'd like to see the Packers at least do a throwback with the extra stripes on the sleeves, which I think should be their full-time uniform again and should have never changed. But this is also a uniform that I miss, and I was so pissed off with the Falcons' new uniforms because I wanted to see them essentially go back to this. But they didn't, and that sucks. I mean, at least they're wearing the throwback with the new matte black helmet. I will give the Falcons that, but I wanted to see basically a return to this. I'm not going to lie. And then for the Cowboys, I mean, at the bare minimum, they should bring this back if the helmet rule changes. But, you know, I just think that this one helmet rule is unfortunate because not only does it force teams to not be able to do throwbacks like the Eagles, for example, used to do, but I think it would also, if they relaxed the helmet rule and got rid of the one helmet rule, I think there is a big gold mine of jersey sales coming if teams like Seattle and the Lions start doing throwback jerseys. I really do believe that there is a major gold mine in the works if this rule changes, and I think that's also going to be a big part of why they allow throwbacks again for sure. Dollar signs. But speaking of dollar signs, due to the one helmet rule, I also believe that the one helmet rule was a big part of why the Color Rush program was brought in the first place. I mean, at least we have seen some gorgeous throwbacks from the Giants and the Saints, even though I would prefer if they could at least wear contrasting socks. We've seen some really good Color Rush jerseys over the years, including the Broncos and the Chargers Royal Blue jersey. But the issue of single monochromatic jumpsuit uniform styles is just something that I think has got to go. And I've been saying for a long time myself that I would love to see the NFL establish Throwback Thursdays. And see, I think if the NFL did that, that would be very extremely well received by fans, including myself. You know, I just think that there's way too much popularity from that decision for them not to bring out some type of throwback program again. And I want to show you guys one more thing here. If I could ever just find a good photo. One throwback that I really want to see, to be quite honest with you viewers out there. Oh shoot, I had it right here. Sorry for the delay, guys, by the way. My apologies. But I would love to see the Rams bring out this throwback. This is quite possibly my favorite football uniform. It is absolutely gorgeous. And quick rant on the Rams. The fact that they're not going full-time retro is a huge piss off for me. And looking at their new logo, that's pure garbage. And I agree with my one subscriber, Caesar. It's absolutely garbage. The fact they're not going full-time retro, they should at least give us a throwback uniform now and then, which I'm hoping they will. But yeah, I mean, if the one helmet rule has actually reduced injuries dramatically, then they should keep it. But personally, in my opinion, I just don't see how the one helmet rule has made much of a difference, if any at all. I mean, if it has, then keep things the way they are. But I just don't think it has. I mean, whether it's a new helmet or a broken-in helmet, those players are still taking hits to the head day in and day out. But as I've said numerous times already, and I'm only going to say this one more time, if the one helmet rule is preventing injuries, then they should keep it. I think safety is more important than throwback uniforms. But I just think that, I think that the throwbacks are something that should return. I mean, if teams were allowed to wear a different helmet, I also think it would be nice to once in a while see a team try something new. And removing the one helmet rule would at least give that option too, possibly. I mean, I gotta be honest, I do think it's nice to see sometimes when a team does try a new design once in a while. I mean, there's been a lot of good uniforms, or a lot of good jerseys, that have come in as a result of the Color Rush program, like, for example, the Saints throwback. Another jersey that I really like is the Rams bright gold and yellow Color Rush jersey, but I would personally rather see throwbacks than Color Rush uniforms any day. And I think this is a case of where there is smoke, there's fire. I think that if the Patriots have acknowledged it, and if Bruce Arians has said that when the rule changes next year, I think there's fire. I think it is going to happen, and I hope it does. Because personally, I don't think the one helmet rule should have ever been brought in the first place. I just don't. I mean, I've already said why, but, you know, I think the rule has been unfortunate. Because, right now, especially in recent years where more and more teams have made some really, really bad redesigns to their uniforms, I think the throwback uniforms being allowed to be worn again for the most part, where more teams could actually do throwbacks like the Eagles here because of the restriction being removed, I think it would be a very welcomed breath of fresh air. And I think a lot of people would agree with me there. I mean, who doesn't want to see the Seahawks, for example, bring back this uniform? I mean, even for one game a year, I'd love to see it come back. I mean, if the NFL does get rid of this rule, I think for me, the one team I want to see a throwback from more than anybody is the Seattle Seahawks. This is one of my favorite NFL uniforms, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I hope that we do get to see that and many other throwbacks in the next coming years. I hope this rule is on its way out, personally. But anyways, you guys, for you viewers out there, I would love to hear what you think about this rumor. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this video. But on that note, guys, I will call it a wrap on this. I hope you have enjoyed it if you have watched it. And until my next video, you guys, as always, take care. And as usual, bye for now.